All right, welcome to Crowns and Crows. This is the episode where we talk to you as the test has been canceled. Because everybody that's on this podcast or video cast, what did Pan wanted to say? Video cast?
Webcast. Yeah, we're a
Webcast
webcast now.
was going to be testing. I'm happy because I'm stuck in a hotel room tonight and I was not be able to test, so I was going to miss it anyway. So I'm a happy camper here. Tonight we got Arawulf with us. He's coming in. He's been playing the awesome knight, winning many games during testing. I've seen him kick plenty of ass in the Hunger Dome. And Valor's here to say that he's trying. He's trying. But
Oh man.
we don't have a planned show tonight. Obviously, the big hot topic is actually playing the game for the first time. So we're going to talk about that for the next hour. Give our impressions. You can probably see a lot of our impressions already if you look in the testing forums, which are nice and open for everybody to read and participate in. Can everybody participate in those? I don't even know.
No.
Just the tester.
Yeah, they can. Everyone can read, but
Yep.
only people who have access to the playtest the game can actually test the
Gotcha.
game.
Cool. So everybody can see what's going on. So it's nice and open. People have been streaming it left and right. Hopefully, the couple hours that I was streaming, we're actually good. I did not get a chance to play last night. Or was it last night? There was no. Today's is Tuesday, right?
Oh
So
man, it's hurting
yes,
my
it was
brain.
Monday. It was a long holiday. Yes, there was a second test last night, and that hits right near family dinner time. So I was not good. My wife would kill me if I try to get a second one in the same weekend. So, all right, let's kind of just kick it off here, and let's be the first thing. Let's talk about one thing that impressed us the most while playing. And Arif, you're our guest. Let's start off with you.
Yeah, sure. So I can say what impressed me the most is that I've been part of a lot of alpha and beta tests, but I didn't expect it to actually be a game.
Yeah, seriously.
It was a real game. I mean, I'm already hearing people talk about wanting this in the final product, which is kind of mind-boggling considering what Crowfall actually is. But it was fun, and I guess I was kind of expecting it to be work, and it didn't feel like work.
I agree with you. I think that we're actually starting to see just the early trickling of people complaining about the fact that, oh, look at this game, it's not it's not performing great, and you just hit this on the head. It's not a game. I mean, we were playtesting a combat module, and they just happen to have been able to package this in such an amazing way that it's still fun, and you get that excitement for being able to do stuff.
What I mean, I'm gonna have to echo that. I mean, for a game that's been in development seriously for what, 5 months now? Is it
Ish.
5.5 months?
Yeah,
6
right around
months,
there.
something like that. And they did combat revamping with all this other stuff. Probably what, 2-3 months ago, they were talking about it for the first time. So a lot of stuff's in flux, and you actually got into the game and have a somewhat playable experience. And if it wasn't for all the network ping and all the other stuff, it would be actually entertaining. I mean, personally, I can't really get a good feel of the game because I played the Legionnaire a couple times, and I liken trying to control the Legionnaire as being completely drunk off your ass trying to drive an 18-wheeler. And if you ever try to play, when you get a chance to play the Legionnaire and you try to back it up, it literally feels like you're pushing a cab back and you have to take advantage of the trailer that's behind you. It has some really wonky feelings to it. But everybody, there's a couple people that are bitching, oh, the game looks like it's crap, it's blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, the game's been out for 5 months, and
I mean, yeah, they've barely been working on it, and I mean, Airwolf, have you seen any backlash from your YouTube video? People talking about performance and how they were disappointed in anything?
Well, outside of the fact that I was told in all caps, you need to up your game, which is true, by the way, which is true. Ultimately, it's been very mixed. I've actually been paying a little bit more attention to the response because there were a couple of larger media sites that actually grabbed one of my videos, which I wasn't prepared for, to see my video on Massively OP and on Eurogamer. So I was actually watching those comments, and I was actually surprised. They were actually mostly positive. You do have those people that really weren't aware of where the game was as far as in development. So yeah, you'll get the, boy, everything looks really black and white, or Well, that right, we know. That's we know.
I kind of dig that look too. The black and white kind
It's
of
like winter.
simple.
It's
I
like
like
you're
it.
out fighting in the cold of winter. There's ice everywhere. I live in Michigan, so this reminds me of those beautiful mornings you wake up and it snows over everything, you know.
Oh man.
But I mean, you're going to get those. Hey, this looks terrible, or this looks bad. I've gotten a few of those comments. Um, as far as the performance goes, yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I mean, you're wrestling against some pretty high latency at times.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it did affect it.
Constant, yeah.
Thankfully, everybody was wrestling in it with it. At the same time. So it's kind of like trying to dribble a basketball in 3 feet of mud.
Yeah.
Everyone's in it, and everyone's trying to do it, and it was quite comical at times, especially those Legionnaires trying to climb up those ramps inside the keep.
Oh,
That
man.
was
Tough, man. It's
It
tough.
was brutal.
Well, I want to say that the game. If this was just a game, it's definitely in its own right. I would say probably not fun, only because there's so many issues that you're wrestling with. But the fact that it's so early and it's like all hands on deck, we're trying to help them make a game. We're in early, and people are taking. I love it. I love jumping in there. It's like everybody knows that this is the first time anybody's been really playing it, and you really jump in there and you're like, oh cool, let's help them make a game. All the developers are in there chatting up, hitting you, killing you, and running away from you or whatever. And it feels kind of more of a smaller community as they're doing the testing, and I kind of really dig that feeling. And the developers doing a really cool thing about it's almost reality show-ish with the progress of the game from on a week-to-week basis. So it's really quite excellent. So let's move on to the one thing you like the least, regardless. Let's ignore the ping and all that other stuff because that's kind of out of their hands at this point. At least I expect it to be anyway. Just from like a mechanical point of view of what it is. What did you like the least so far?
For me, the sound. Oh my gosh, it was. Yeah, it was. Honestly, though, it's funny too because we were in my stream. We were talking about not only the sound, the countdown sound. It was like 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
It was like an alarm clock in the morning. It's like, can I please snooze this thing, right?
Oh, it was rough.
But even when you're using your abilities, there was this like
Thomas just said
rattling
feet
sound.
is gone.
Rattling sound every time you hit a key because it would
Yeah.
basically if you were a button masher like I'm a terrible button masher. I always have been. You just constantly have this clicking going on. So thankfully those are part of the testing process, and I know that stuff is going to get fixed. So that I will say by far that was probably my least favorite part.
Valor heard me on the streams like, what the fuck is that machine gun sound? What the hell is that? What is going on? And it was just me because I'm hitting like the C button on my Legionnaire to give me rage and it's not working.
So I mean,
shit.
what it was is I realized I was doing the same thing. I think everyone gets in there, and it's a combination of latency and I tried playing the game on Ultra with like 8 Chrome tabs open and Slack and streaming and like Skype and I realized I was like, oh well, first off, my computer's not really good enough to play on Ultra, period. Second,
What was your number? What was your number?
oh, I got down to 6 frames per second.
I was streaming about 22 on Ultra and stuff, so it wasn't too
But-
bad. I only saw about a 5 FPS increase going to down to low.
And see, that's the thing though is I went back to low, and then it wasn't until the next day that I realized like, oh man, all my issues are related to the fact that Chrome just destroys any RAM that you have in your computer, and I don't have
it
enough.
Kind of does that.
But one thing we can talk about. We can talk about the issues. The issues and
Let's go with the mechanics you did not like.
yeah. Okay. So we'll
I have
stay
one
we'll
I
stay on
like.
mechanics. The thing that I think I like the least is, man, this doesn't count, but I am really curious to see how they continue to adjust the animation lock. I felt that combat kind of turned into a very static. 2 people stand in front of each other, and whoever hits their keys in the right order wins. And I'm not suggesting we go to just pure circle strafing, but it did. And this was something somebody asked me as well. They said this is how it looks. How does it feel? And I was like, well, I've really been spending more time seeing how I'm doing stuff and not focusing on what's actually happening when I do it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of feel that I think that it does. I mean, you sit there and you hit your buttons, and they sit there and they hit their buttons, and whoever wins.
Well, I mean, playing the Legionnaire, getting actually finding somebody in melee range, staying still enough to actually auto attack somebody. I'm like, I don't want to move. I have me all lined up. I'm going to actually hit him, get some mana in there. So it's definitely tough because you're not only dealing with latency, you're dealing with different animation speeds. You're dealing with momentum. You're dealing with. I could swear the Legionnaire has turn speed attached to it or a turn animation.
Yeah,
To it. And I don't know if that's the case though, because I've seen some characters like whiz around 180 degrees on a skill too. I've seen that happen, at least on the Confessor.
Yeah,
so,
well, they might have just been doing their animation that spins them around. So
yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, because it's kind of hard to get through all those different kind of keys to figure out what actually is causing all that. But I definitely agree. It was very hard to melee somebody. And it turned more into a jousting thing where I think isn't that a Darkfall thing where you go around and you joust in for a melee?
Yeah,
and
well, and that was the skill is can you attack while moving and being able to land your attacks without them landing theirs? And I mean, yeah, if you were going up against somebody who hadn't played before, I mean, they'd just get destroyed because there's no way that they were timing their skills correctly. But at the same time, it really made combat. I don't know. It was more about movement and less about combat. And
I think, and Thomas mentioned this in the last show, though. We were talking about that as an observation about people just kind of bashing together in clumps, that they're going to start adding momentum into attacks and a little bit of lunges and a little bit of movement to it. So it's not going to be just kind of go up to them and just go at somebody and then you win type of thing, or you lose.
I thought that in their explanation of the skills, though, when the Knight was attacking the barrels, that he had that momentum. I mean, am I missing something? I mean, I thought that was supposed to already be in there.
Certain skills have momentum or movement to them. I think I was talking more on the auto attacks or left attacks, because basically you left click and you just kind of swing in place. And if you play games like Terra, a lot of their basic attacks or primary chain skills or whatever you want to call them, some of them do have a little bit of movement to them, like the Lancer shield bash kind of moves you forward a half a foot or whatever kind of unit, like you go into it, not just you just don't go this with your shield, but you kind of move forward a little bit, so you can, once you learn your class, you can predict where your movements are and where you're going to be, and it kind of it's a little bit interesting.
I mean, I guess we're going to see them, turning that, adjusting that and continuing to add to it. I mean, it's already in there in some stuff. I mean,
I think that's more of like a milestone 3 type of thing. That's starting to fine tune everything and seeing it working. I mean, just to go over what I found, I didn't like, but Thomas really kind of explained this about how they don't have a design yet, but that's what they're going for, is the weird combination of WASD MMO movement and with free mouse look, and then steering with your mouse also, because it's kind of like a hybrid between FPS and. Am I describing that right? Does that make sense to you guys? But you can move your mouse a certain bit around the reticle, and then until you get out of it, that's when you start turning a little bit. But you can also turn your character with A and D. I mean, it's kind of a weird combination. It took me a while to really, get used to it.
Well, and what I have experience, Darkfall had a similar operation. So I have experience with the reticle targeting and that free mouse look, and so what it is you literally always have the W key pressed, and everything else is turning your camera and hitting A or D. And so that for me it was a little bit more natural. I just had to get out of the MOBAs that I've been playing almost exclusively for 4 months. I mean, what about you, Arawulf? I mean, how do you feel? Was that familiar? Was it alien?
Well, I wanted to actually boot up Terra. I actually don't have a PC right now. I was playing on my wife's computer, and so she doesn't have Terra loaded on there. But I wanted to compare the two. Yeah. So I'm going to hold off on that one, only because I can't remember the difference between the way Crowfall's movement is and the way Terra's is. My impression of though was that the camera did seem kind of. I felt like sometimes I was wrestling against the controls, but a lot of that too, when it comes to movement, and I don't know if we're going to touch on this later on, but I'd completely forgotten about a post that they put up on August 13th about the way the server and character movement is set up right now. Because I actually in my stream I actually demonstrated. I was like, okay, I'm gonna let go of W now, and then my character would continue moving, or I would steer, and there was a lot of delay, and it was very much like that battleship. You're moving a ship or trying to turn the
Yeah.
Titanic,
Somebody had a
and
really. I'm sorry, go ahead.
and basically the point was is that post a month ago, Blair was basically like, yeah, right now, basically when you push a button, nothing happens until the server sees that you push that button, and then it sends that message back to the computer. So it's
Yeah.
creating this delay. And basically what they're going to do is redo the character control so that it's going to be, to a degree, client-based. There's still going to be checks and balances for speed hacking and whatnot. But when you push a button, you're going to see a response. And I think that's going to make a lot of those things like chasing somebody feel a lot more satisfying. Like, because right now, if somebody's running away, as soon as you use a move, you stop.
Yeah.
And so, and because of the delay, I mean, the short melee range of a knight, I mean, you could be right on somebody's tail, take one swing, and you could still miss.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll get alleviated.
I mean, that's part of all the network backend stuff that's constantly being tested with server client architecture.
Right.
And I mean, if we all lived in South Korea and we all had super internet and everybody's ping was 5, we might be able to get away with server client, all server side type of stuff. You can't do
Right.
that in the US. It's almost impossible unless you're all playing LAN locally. That's basically the only way you're going to be able to get away with that. And somebody had an analogy with the whole reticle movement thing, and it felt just like Elite Dangerous. If you ever played that game, there's in a lot of those flight sim type of games, before you turn, you can actually set the sensitivity of your mouse and the reticle. How far away from the center screen can it go before you start moving your ship? And I've never had that experience with an actual human character on ground, and it feels very wonky, but it feels natural when you're playing, a space game type of thing like that. Okay, so let's kind of go over. Let's tell some stories now. I know, Arawulf, you've been testing, if more or if not just the same as Val. Val, I don't know if you've maxed out your time. It sounds like you have to though. So let's tell some stories to some awesome moments. Arawulf's grinning because he thinks we're going to already. So we'll start with you. What do you got?
So I will probably say my favorite moment was probably followed up by one of Valor's favorite moments, and so basically what happened was I had been playing, very much button mashing style, right? And Blair would pop into all these different streams, and he'd pop in and he would give me advice, right? He'd be like, "Yeah,
He's yelling at me.
You're a knight, and you're not keeping your barrier up. What are you doing?" So anyways, I was finally able to unleash a fully charged shield bash. I blasted 2 players. We finished them off. I'm celebrating on stream, and then the next group we run into is Valor and the gang, and he takes me out. I don't know what he did, but I was dead so fast. And I was like, "Hey, there's Valor. Okay, go win it, because I'm dead." So
Oh man.
so many stories. I ended up getting grouped with Blair's wife in a group, and our third member ended up running off on their own. Leroy
Yeah, that
Jenkins
happens a lot.
himself.
Especially if
And
you're grouped
so
with Tyrant, apparently.
I heard about the whole suicide in the fire thing. Yeah, I was grouped with Gordon, and he looted 2 chests and committed suicide in the game. He's like, "No, I saw a bug, I took a picture, and I got out on purpose. Sorry." But anyway, yeah. So she played. She was a confessor. I was the knight, and we ended up getting second place. Basically, as a two-man team, it was pretty impressive. It was a lot of fun when you're with a teammate that you can tell knows what they're doing. It makes a huge difference. But I can tell you, one of the best strategies that a lot of people criticize me for was, they're like, "You're running away from action. How come you're not running into the fight?" I'm like, "It's a survival game. Why on earth, if I have
Yep.
if I'm by myself, why on earth would I want to run to where the fighting is?" So I'm sure I didn't help the combat testing very much, because I spent a lot of time running away. But
You got to find all those holes in the world.
yes, exactly right.
Come on.
But one time I did get caught on the backside of the keep when the hunger was coming. Boy, I was really wishing the voxels were there, because I would have loved to have dug through that wall to get in. But
Oh, man.
those are probably my favorite stories so far.
I had one game where, it was a nicely balanced team, and the team all stayed together, and we rushed and got a couple pieces of gear, and then We had a couple fights, and I was able to keep people alive, but we all stayed together. We're peeling and everything else like that. We won a couple fights, and then the downfall of that team was we're still outside the keep. For some reason, everybody was rushing inside the keep, even though the hunger wasn't quite there yet, and we were all kind of low. And I started running off to one of the campfires while everybody else was fighting in the gates. Yet my team decided to go, oh, let's go charge in, and I'm like, let's heal up and then come in blazing glory and full health. But I ended up going inside and running around in circles as a centaur until I think I got like top 4 or 5 teams basically. Then I got basically sandwiched between 3 groups, but that was kind of fun.
Oh man, I missed the first play test, and then I was able to make the second play test. Oh, thank you.
You were there the first time.
No. I'm sorry. I'm not talking. What was it? Saturday. I'm talking. Yesterday. Man,
yesterday.
This holiday has really decimated me.
Yeah.
I mean, like we had a meeting this morning, and like we always have breakfast for our work meetings, and I mean I just completely forgot. But yeah. Anyway, so sidetracked. But so I was playing the knight a lot. I found that the knight was, it was probably
the most balanced class. Yeah.
It's the most balanced class right now, and you have a lot of control. And it's not just CC, but you've got your chain pull. You've got so many different ways that if somebody's getting away from you, if you're out of position, if they're out of position, you can really control the way the fight is going. And so with that, I started off and I was button mashing, and Blixtev, he was watching the stream, and I mean, I think he spent like 20 minutes and just repeating, "Hey, why aren't you finishing out your combos? Like, just hit it one more time."
Lag. That's what, lag.
And no, but I mean, what it was.
No, that's all you're supposed to say.
Well, no, look,
Lag.
when I'm bad, I'm bad, and and I was seeing all the combos come up, and so like the first day, I mean, I don't think I probably ever finished my combo like at all, and then the first 2 matches, I mean, the first match, 2 people, we double spawned and ran into 2 different teams of 3, and then the second match, we had somebody who just left. Like they just walked a completely different direction, and so we were probably like the first team out both of those, and then the next one, that's when I really started paying attention to what I was doing, and yeah, I mean, I ended up, it was a ton of fun. I ended up going on a 4, my team for 4 matches in a row won, and that's a pretty decent achievement, I think. I'll pat myself on the back. But the third match, we all went out. There was like 14 people left. The only person on our team left was Oberon on his Legionnaire. And what you will come to realize is like, yeah, knights are the most balanced, but you get to that tiny little circle and the hungers around you, all Legionnaire has to do is just hit their knockback and you're done.
Just spam E.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was trying to do that, but my latency wouldn't let me hit it fast enough when the E popped up. So by the time I hit E, the option was gone, and I'm like,
oh man,
no.
Well, and so I'm sitting there, and we're in GameVox because for me, it's so much more fun to be able to talk to people while I'm playing any game, and and the guys in GameVox like, hey, the next match is starting, so I go ahead and kill out it because I mean there's like as I said, there's like 14, 15 people left. Only one person on our team. He's the Legionnaire. He was at like half health, and sure enough, he wins. So kept that win streak alive. And then after the 4th one, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and test out this Confessor and see what I can do there. Yeah, that wasn't good. I was on a team with 2 Confessors and a Legionnaire, and it's like, well, yeah, it just doesn't work. But
well, let me take a quick pause here. Remind everybody for our GameVox server, they're constantly up now. They've always been up, but now we have space for play testing. So if you're a play tester, you can hop into all the channels and hang out with other testers. It's free. It's open to everybody. I don't think there's a limit to it that we found so far. Or if you're not in test but you want to hang out with other testers and ask questions, feel free to log on and we'll answer questions or shoot the shit with you or whatever, or you can log in right now and join the show if you have anything to add to it. So all the GameVox information is down below. the Twitch feed, or if you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in the episode information. Hopefully, Valor will copy paste our old episodes and upload it at a later time. So, here's one frustrating experience I had, because this is going to lead into the next round of questions that I want to say is different strategies or metas that you see emerging to help win the game faster. And this was kind of towards the end of a game, might have been maybe 4 teams left or so, and it was just me and a confessor left, and we had lost our night, and there was those couple of teams that had really synergized well and were kicking ass, taking names, and I said, we need to outlast these people and try to pick some people off as they fight, inside the center of the keep.
Yeah.
So we both had climbed to the top of the keep and was in like the throne room or whatever is the top there in the top balcony, and we are just kind of sitting there like, let's wait, let's be patient. And anybody that comes up here, we can pop right away. If not, we can jump out the window. There's no fall damage, and we can go on a merry way. Then the confessors got bored and wandered around and went out the front door and died. So I'm like, strategy, man, strategy. So that being said, what do you think, guys, is the most efficient way to win the game? Like, what is the strat that gets you to win? Valor, you won 4 in a row, so
yeah.
We'll start with you on that one.
All right. The safest way to go about it is to stay outside of the keep, be one of the last groups in, and then run up to the wall. And you need to do this before the hunger's like really close. So you just wait until the everything gets down to like 14, 15 people, and hopefully that took place in a fast enough time. Once you get in there, you just go around and you pick people off. I actually would like to do a little blog about the strategies for winning in the Hunger Dome, but just in general, it's boring though if you just go out there and avoid combat, and that was always a big thing for me. Is we would seek out fights around the keep, and that's where you could really get in there and have a lot of fun, still fight, kill people, but there's a couple times where we were able to actually get in the keep, get the high ground, and just pick our battles. If you see 2 groups converging and you're in the middle, GTFO. I mean, really, that happened to me a number of times outside of the keep, where I was on the team with Blixtev and some confessor, and we're all together, and then we go around this rock, and I get chain pulled, and then they're gone, and I'm like just running away from the night because I want to catch up with my team, and we just happened to be right there. One team was killing the 2 of them, another team was killing me, and yeah, that's what you just have to. That's what you have to avoid. Avoid those kind of scenarios. But what's funny is when that one story you told earlier, Arawulf, where I was pointing over here, that one story you told earlier where like you just wiped out this team, and then we showed up, and I was actually talking with Blixtev as that was happening, and I mean it wasn't maybe 10 seconds, and we're like, yeah, Arawulf's actually doing really well on the night, and he's probably one of the better knights out there. And then I mean it was just like bang bang, and showed up, and what it was is the confessor just I mean I think our confessor just focus fired, nuked the hell out of you, and yeah, it was pretty quick and dirty.
I don't know what happened. I just know that I got wrecked.
Oh, that happened to me too, where I'd be at half health, and I was like, oh, okay, I got this, not a big deal. And then it was just like almost instant. I apparently had some sin stacked up on me, and they just, was it 4? Is it the 4 key that for where it immolate or whatever? Absolute. There you go.
It's all about, this game's all about timing your combat, and it truly, it kind of makes me excited for future engagements when everything becomes crisp and nice and the game's out, and it's it's a year or 2 from now, whatever it might be, that with physics and the friendly fire and all that other stuff, like going in, charging in, taking a couple licks, maybe killing somebody, and then peeling out. And a lot of the strategies of hit and runs and how you form up and all that other stuff, that actually matters in a game like this. And that kind of gets me excited for actually playing the game once it's all done and ready to go. It makes this, it's even more fun that we're sitting here talking about it now, 5 months in, and we might have the ability to kind of shape that as early goers. So it looks really fun. Now, what about your strategy, Arawulf? What were you doing? Were you just timing your battles properly, and or did you actually try to have a plan? Because usually the knight you follow them around, so you usually kind of lead your group around.
Well, one of the things that I found was very helpful is, as a knight, I was actually pushing people away from my confessor. Because in order for my confessor to be able to cast spells, they have to stop moving, right? Well, that puts them at great risk when they've got a knight and maybe a legionnaire beating on them. So what I found is, if I used my #1 ability on the knight, I was actually able to push players away from the confessor, because just like my confessor has to kind of strategically stop moving to cast, so do the other archetypes.
Yep.
So a lot of times I was able to, defend that way. I don't know if in the long run that ends up being viable, but I found that there are times when I was up close, before beginning to engage and attack, if I felt that they were in range of the confessor, I would try to push them back and then begin to engage.
So you were basically peeling for your confessor.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Well, that's a MOBA term. Basically, you're protecting your caster by slowing down, taking away, and kind of setting up your confessor for those long range hits, so they can sit there unmolested.
Yeah, the longer our confessor lived, the better we fared.
Yeah.
Almost every single time. I will say that probably the magic thing for me that happened is when I learned as the knight, #1, keep my barrier up. Got to keep that up. Never let that go down. Like literally every time that 5 keys up, you hit it. The #4 combo, so you hit 4, 4, 4, 4, then you take that shield and just go smash. That's when you want to use that fully charged shield bash. And once I was able to figure that out, I started seeing some success. So I think it's just a matter of learning those tricks. But I mean, the reality is, just think about this, and Dragon, you touched on it. We don't even have even close to the toolbox we're going to have. So this is just the very tip of the way combat's going to work. Strategy-wise, yeah, protect the confessor, stay together. I agree. You do not want to just dive right into the keep. If you see multiple teams fighting, that's a beautiful thing, because that means a whole lot more people are going to be dead and wounded. But you want to be close enough, because if you can catch a team that's wounded, man, you can wipe them out very quickly. Even as a two-man team, if you're at full health and they're not, you got a chance. There was one night, it was me and a legionnaire. We had just killed a group, and all of a sudden this knight at full health came in, and we were at about half, 3/4 health. And we thought, hey, we got this, man. And so we dove right in. He killed us both. And I followed him the rest of the match, like 4th place. But I'm keeping my death cam on this guy, man. This guy is good.
Knows what he's doing.
He was fully geared, which did help, by the way.
That makes a lot of difference, is the gear that you can find. When I was playing my Legionnaire, with my latency, I wasn't able to auto-attack very well. And unfortunately, the Legionnaire, to be able to use my powers, I needed auto-attack people to gain rage, to actually use them. And when you have confessors that are dashing all over the place, and you really don't want to get tangled up in melee with a bunch of other knights, because you're going to get hit by the confessors and bashed by the knights, what I did was I just went up and dove the confessors, and they would run away from me, and then I would kind of try to run away and avoid contact. So I essentially take the confessor out of the fight, and hopefully my confessor and the knight behind me can do damage to whoever they're chasing. And then I would run back towards them, hit my C button, get full rage, put a heal, and then run off and just play decoy for the most part. That's the only complaint I had about the Legionnaire, is I felt like I couldn't do anything unless I had my C attack up to give myself rage to attack, because I could not land an auto attack to save my life because of the latency and everything else that was kind of going on. So that was kind of unfortunate a little bit for the Legionnaire. But
let's explain that, because I don't know that a lot of people understand what's going on with the latency. One thing is that Ace has their server for the pre-alpha in Virginia. I believe they said it's somewhere outside of Richmond. So that's one piece. Another is the way that they have their character models set up currently. I saw this tweeted out, actually. Arawulf, this was your information. You reshared information that was shared prior. Why don't you cover this, because you're the one who brought it up. I just saw it.
Well, what it was is I was giving my feedback, right? And I kind of touched on this earlier. I was giving my feedback about the movement. It was in a thread on the official forums where the feeling was the movement was muddy. It was hard to control your character. And in the middle of this forum, when we're all kind of agreeing with this, Blair posts. He says, "Guys, that's why I gave you guys a heads up a month ago with that techno mumbo jumbo post." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's the one I really didn't read because it was techno mumbo jumbo. Wasn't really that interested in that." So, because I thought it was just more tech stuff. And I don't mind the tech stuff, but I thought it was kind of filler, right?
Yeah.
Well, this was actually very relevant information to those of us that were testing, and a lot of us aren't going to remember a post from a month ago.
Yeah.
And it was all about that server stuff that we kind of talked about, where when you right now everything is server side, and that was their original ideas. Obviously, it's the safest way to do it. Keep it off the client, keep it on the server. That way, you can kind of keep people from cheating. But the reality is, they're going to have to do some of this movement. Client side, because when you move, even though, okay, so here's the reality. Yes, it's a game on a lower budget. It's a crowdfunded game. It's a small studio, but movement will have to feel on par with bigger games if people are really going to be able to play. Movement has to feel like an extension of you. So they get that right, and the reality is, I don't think it can be done without client side stuff. And I'm not a technical guy.
Well, we talked about
it
this
sounds
earlier
like
in the show.
sounds like it's getting done right.
Yeah.
But that's the idea.
Essentially, what happens is you send a command when you hit W. That command goes to the server. The server says, "Okay, we will now move your character from A to B," and then we will send a message to your client to say, "Okay, you have now moved from A to B. Let's move your character on your screen and allow you to do that." Now, the problem is that whole chain, if there's latency or involvement in there, it gets all muddy. That's why you might move slower or faster or whatever, because everything is kind of, hopefully I'm describing this properly.
Yeah.
When you have client-side movement, you see immediate reaction. The game shows you, and there's a little bit of guesswork between the server and the client. There's like estimation of position, and depending on how they code it, there's different iterations on how fast or how often or how they do the calculations. That's stuff that's complete. I mean, this is all completely beyond my realm, but all that other stuff is even farther beyond that. But the long and short is, I think the Legionnaire suffers the most in this playtest, unless you can get really lucky, like going in there. Like the first game, I thought the Legionnaire actually was a little bit beefier than it was, but it's actually quite squishy. I mean, here I am. I've got Roman armor on. I'm a giant fucking horse. I'm gonna like run in there and start back. Nope. You get somebody turns on you, you start getting hurt if you get melee range. So it took a while for me to figure out that I have to kind of stay away, which kind of hurt with my generating the rage, because when you auto attack, you gain rage, and then once you have enough rage, you can start dumping it into your skill. So I wasn't attacking fast. I think the animations need to be a little bit faster on the Legionnaire, so I can gain rage a little bit faster, so I can use my abilities. But I don't think they really give a shit about class balance at this point. We're just kind of testing infrastructure. Here's one other thing when I want to talk about.
Well, I think that this is actually a good thing to bring up for when you start moving things to client side. That's when you start opening up the potential hacking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where, and when you have a open world PvP game, deaths matter. I mean, this is something that it would be interesting to see how much danger they open themselves up to by taking stuff off the server. I understand the need to do it, but that's always one of the things that's been said to me, and I am not the technical expert on how servers handle it and how you protect against it. And they said oh well, if somebody starts exceeding certain speeds, but that's what every dev studio says, and
you have to do so that the key is how good is their detection software. Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, the post on the official website, Blair's post says something like this. He says, "If anything gets wacky, speed hackers, etc., the server is still in charge and will warp player back." So that's about the only thing that's mentioned on the site about detection so far.
Yeah.
Are we okay with the stream?
So,
Arawulf just kind of froze there for a second.
Yeah, he froze up a little bit on me as well.
Yeah, there's some internet connection going on.
Probably. Let's see.
Is that you, Ally?
I mean, it's very possibly me.
No, I did blink out just a little bit here, but I think I'm okay.
Oh,
I think we got it back. We say
we're good.
All right,
we're good. Well, I want to get back to game strategy here. Here's one of the things I was kind of thinking about is when you go into the keep, and when you go in initially, there's I think 2 to 4 chests in the first floor, and you can climb upstairs. There's another 2 or 4 that you can get with. I think one strat might be to rush the keep first. Try to get all those chests because there's quite a few concentrated in that single area, and then
Mm-hmm.
get
And then
like,
leave.
and then leave, and then pick up any stragglers. And hopefully, if you can get a good amount of gear, you might be strong enough to hop over the wall somewhere in the back and then kind of circle around and then pick your fights. That might be actually a valid strat.
Yeah,
And if enough people do it, there might be kind of some kind of interesting skirmishes around that central keep while everybody else. So then it'll change. But I think that's something that's worth testing if you can get enough people to on your team to kind of do it.
yeah. And you know, one of the things that I saw is that I mean, depending on where you, hello, Mrs. Arawulf. One of the things that I saw is, you know, where you spawn actually kind of determines whether or not you even have a shot at that. I mean, one of the
Sure.
things is, you know, I was spawning in the same place, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times, and you know, you just run up a hill. There's a chest underneath a tree. You know, continue onward. You know,
Did we ever find out what Tully hid on the map? Because he was talking about hiding stuff on the map in the last video. He's like he's putting stuff in trees or something.
Yeah, I didn't find anything.
There's no caves or anything in there.
Yeah.
That we have to search for. That's the one thing that I wish they would have is some kind of like demo mode where I can just go in and actually see what my skills do, like their gray box world where it's just a grid. I like to give it. I like to. Give
I
that a
found
shot,
the
just like a practice.
perfect song. I'm going to debut this. I'm still working on a video. I found the perfect song for this game. So
Is this how you end the stream right now?
no. I mean, shoot. But
I don't have the button to click the stream off. So, I mean, it's all in your hands.
no. And I would love to tease it a little bit. We'll just say that a female porn star is actually one of the vocalists, and be patient. I'll see if I can get this up. I know you.
You just have to play the YouTube video on your computer. The sound will come through.
I know, but I don't want to ruin it.
Careful what you do.
I don't want to ruin it.
Stars live on Twitch TV.
I don't want to ruin it. Don't want to ruin it.
Don't want to get it banned. All right.
You know, Arawulf, you've been making some videos. Where are you hosting all of your videos? Do you have a good place to find Arawulf content?
Yeah, I'm at YouTube at Arawulf the Gamer.
Gotcha. I'll see if I can.
Why don't you pitch your new site that you've been working on too, Wolf Valor?
I'm actually running a Crowfall fan site called Crowbase. It's crowbase.com. Basically, I post some just news, some thoughts. I have a guides page that I'm building, but really the whole point of that site is to be kind of a welcome mat to new people in the Crowfall community, or people that want to get familiar with the game. I'm not. I'm a people person. I'm into connections and relationships. I leave the smart stuff, the brainiac stuff, to people smarter than me. But if there are good resources out there, I want to be able to point people to it.
Yeah, it seems like you're getting a little staticky with the
I am.
Skype connection.
My interwebs. My interwebs are
I'm just glad my computer's holding up.
I'm surprised.
I know. I mean,
Hosting
shoot.
Skype. I was going to host Skype, and I'm like, well, this this Hilton room Wi-Fi might not be able to hold up a Skype conversation by hosting it. But
Oh man.
no, I mean it's nice to finally see that my own fan site page. I haven't really updated it mostly because it's all standard news and like I dislike copy pasting and all that type of stuff. And you can find our videos here for the show on our YouTube channel. So hopefully with a couple more time in the game, we can start actually writing stuff that people might feel like they want to read. But
yeah,
that's kind of good. Now let's talk now. What's the next step? I mean, they're going to do some play testing. They're testing all this, all the internals, bugs and all this other stuff. What do you think they're going to add next to the next milestone testing? Is it just going to be more Hunger Dome, or they're going to you want to see improvements in movement? What do you think is going to come next?
That is such an open-ended question.
No, that's called a conversation starter.
I know. Great question. I mean, it's a great interview question. What I see coming up is, I think they're going to stick with the Hunger Dome for now.
I agree.
And throughout all of pre-alpha, they will continue adding archetypes. you know, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. One of the things that surprised us is that they went with the Confessor for their testing when one of the first models that they showed was the Frostweaver, you know, along with the Knight. And so, you know what, it's a little bit interesting. You know, some of the stuff's out there.
Maniac, and that's why.
I mean, hey, people do love burning stuff, and it would have been a little bit weird having the Frost person in a white landscape. Would have felt a little unfair there. But you know, in reality, though, you know, I think that they're going to continue adding archetypes, continue doing this stuff, whatever they can get in, and then once they're comfortable with the combat, they're comfortable with the different mechanics that they want to incorporate. I think we'll see the next archetype is going to be be a ranger, because
said that, right?
I'm sorry?
Didn't they say that already? The next one's going to be... No, they only mentioned what the ranger's going to be. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they've talked about it. I know they're talking about doing a new archetype, but you know, the ranger, the hunter, as they call it. I think that's going to be another one that we see, because that's an element of combat that has yet to be addressed, you know, at least in the public play test realm. Arawulf, I don't know if, you know, he might have a different opinion on this, but, you know, from everything that I've seen, it's all, you know, melee, or you have the ray beam, and there's not a whole lot of lobbed projectiles yet. So
I don't think that's coded in the engine yet. The arc.
I don't know.
Projectiles. Well, I mean, this was Thomas said that wasn't in the game yet, and that was right around when they were releasing the Confessor. Because I think I brought up it'd be really cool if you could start lobbing fireballs at walls, like the big whatever the charge skill is for the Confessor, where it sends up a giant fireball. I think he wanted to add something to that. But
yeah.
I might be misremembering.
Do you have anything on that, Arawulf? I don't know if you've seen something. We kind of track different news sites, so.
Yeah, I have not heard anything specific about what's next. What we don't have, though, is a specialist in the game.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if a specialist might be next.
That's true. So Blickstuff said, according to Knock, Blickstuff says stealth might be the next milestone. I do remember seeing that.
We're looking at probably an assassin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, assassin. I mean, consider what an assassin would, how that would affect this gameplay. If you know, everyone's at half health and they're all fighting around.
If you don't fix the ping, the assassin's going to miss all of his backstabs.
Oh,
so,
man,
I mean, I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue.
Well, you know, I was just going to say is we were talking about latency, and you know, you brought up ping, and it was just a misspeak, but ping and latency being, you know, significantly different things, and they even show that they represent it. Ping, I was pretty impressed. Ping wasn't bad. I mean, it showed me that at least we were getting decent connections to the servers. You know, the latency was just abysmal.
I think the next, what we're going to see next, and I think it's going to be a huge thing, is fixing their network's client or their server client relationship, get that latency down. So, you know, when you're play testing and you're giving feedback, like, you know, this animation doesn't feel good. We know when I sidestep on the Legionnaire, it does this, and I think it should do this. And you know, the devs need really prescriptive feedback, not like, I know Thomas put something on one of the forums, like, just saying it feels weird doesn't help me at all. But when there's so many factors what could be causing that weirdness, it's very hard, especially when you jump into a game and you're like, I want to kill, and then all of a sudden, wait, I'm just testing.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to stand to the side and just kind of see what works and what doesn't work.
Well, and I mean,
but regardless, I think the network stuff, once that gets done, and you can basically, it's definitely this animation or this physics element. I can't wait for that to get down and dirty on it, and then you can really start helping them fine-tune things.
And I'll say, raise your hand if the first time you logged into Crowfall, you just sat there and spun. You know, I mean, come on. The camera controls were pretty loose.
That needs to be changed. Yes,
you know, I mean, it's a setting that just, you know, it needs to be a slider. You know, it just it needs to be a slider because yes, we all got used to it, but
I didn't get used to it.
yeah, it's still a new challenge. So,
My wrist hurt by like struggling to keep my mouse within a 1 centimeter radius of where it is. If not, I was twirling around like a nut
yeah.
job.
Well, and if
Like,
you get turned the wrong direction and you're kind of zoomed in a little bit or due to a tree, I mean you're just like, oh, where am I?
it's tough.
Yeah, and then of course your teammates aren't paying attention, so they're just like over a hill somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah, that only happened like 3 times. Um,
So I
yeah.
guess in the first milestone, we're just basically gonna probably working with 3 archetypes, and they're going to work on keeping everything fresh and clean. What
Mhm.
and we were talking about? Do you think we're going to see that archetype in milestone 2 testing, or do you think we might see destruction before the new archetype? What do you think comes first?
I think destruction would be a bad idea. I think I mean, if you consider what they're trying to work on, combat is one of the things that is the cornerstone of this game.
Sure.
They could scrap destruction and still have a really fun, entertaining game. It wouldn't be as cool if they did that with destruction, but focusing on combat, get that in there. One of the easy things that I say easy, they
Well, they're
love
going to
that.
be
They love that
well,
term. One of the things that would be a lot of it would be a new dimension to the test would be getting into the equipment. I mean, they've talked about it a little bit, saying they're going to start adding in some new elements to the gear and how you equip that. And so put that in there, because I don't think anybody's going to really want to play just an equipment module or an inventory crafting module. Yeah, it's great for a little bit, but at some point
I
that's
don't
the
think
sort
we're
of
going
thing
to see
down the
crafting for
road.
quite some time.
Yeah.
Arawulf, what do you think we're going to see first? We're going to see more archetypes in the next milestone, or do you think we're going to see destruction or something else?
I definitely think we're going to see some more archetypes before we see destruction. I think that ultimately we're still getting combat right. I think once you get a basic set of the kinds of archetypes you're going to have, I think they're fun. I don't think they have to have all the archetypes in,
Yeah.
but I do think that they're going to want to have a good idea of kind of the way it's going to feel like with the basic pieces. You got your support, you've got your range, you've got your melee, you got your tanks, you've got your specialists. I think once you get a nice selection of each of those, I think then you're ready to move on, even if you don't have, say, the Myrmidon done or the Druid done.
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously they're going to be working on Comet from here until 10 years after release. That's always going to be something that they're going to be tweaking. I'm assuming. Did they say how long Milestone 1 is going to last?
I haven't seen
Like,
any.
like
I don't think I've
end
seen
in
any
October or
timelines. They to give a we can start theory crafting a little bit. They have.
those are one what if, I guess.
Well, I
in the
mean, no, I
show.
mean, it's really theory crafting. It's when you consider that every account is going to get 25 play tests, then they have however many testers. We can kind of figure out, okay, well, when they reach the end of those
You're going
testers,
deep, dude.
yeah, they reach the end of all of their those Alpha 1 testers, and they add in the
Who said the increments are going to be the same amount of testers? It might, the first couple tests were about 300, 500 people. What if they just start dumping 20,000 people in?
Yeah,
I just
I don't,
threw your
yeah,
whole theory crap
I don't
off.
think that's going to happen, because then
Just make
then
me
we're
happy
talking
if
about a
it's
different game. We're still talking Hunger Dome. We're still talking small matches.
Sure, but
know,
maybe they
so
want to test their server architecture, having multiple games going on at the same time.
Usually testing phases, they'll last a couple of months. So I'm going to go ahead and not stake my reputation on it, but say we'll probably see the end of this sometime in November, October.
Looks like
I
they
say
lost
November,
that.
October. I meant November, December. Yeah, no, I think he was going to restart Skype real quick, trying to resolve some of these issues. But we can, sit here and talk to him. If you guys have anything negative to say, go ahead and get that out of the way before he logs back in.
Yeah, I mean, like here's my line of thinking, and if I'm trying to think of like the workflow of what you want to do, you want to get the basics done in milestone 1 or attempt 2. So however long that might take, you want to get all your tools in for manipulating character movement. You want to get it within, the 80% of what you expect it to be. And once that's done, you can keep going tweaking it, and then start adding more things to the test. And that's why I think destruction is the next major element that they're going to go in there with. That's the only reason. And then maybe they add archetypes along the way, but designing classes and all the animations and all the textures for the gear and all that other stuff is, it's quite a bit of work to add a class in there. So I don't know if they have. I know they have the combat strike team. I don't know if they have a archetype strike team designing, working solely on that. So I don't know how they're.
Yeah, me either. If only there was a couple of them watching the stream and they could just be like, "Oh yeah, we think it's going to take this one." But
those are expectations.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to whose hand is that? Is that your? Oh, that's your hand. That's weird. No, I was talking to somebody who actually used to work with Blair, and almost had it there. And he was going over. We were talking about PR for games and stuff like that, and he was going over how that you say anything and everyone picks it up and runs with it, and then then you're getting yelled at by the owners of the company or your PR people, etc. So I'm sure that they're going to just say we're going to play this until we're done, until it's ready.
Yeah, no doubt. I think. So I can't think of anything else that we need. What's our runtime looking like right now, Val? How long are we at here? Did we hit an hour yet? I don't have my timer up.
Yeah, we're hour 20 total. So we
ran pretty long there.
Well, you factor in the fact that we've been. It took some time getting everything set up.
It's just if you look on OBS.
OBS.
Have you the runtime?
Yeah. We're shy of about 4 minutes.
Okay, so how about we end it here? Because if not, we're just going to keep going on and on. Arawulf, did you have anything you wanted to add? I don't know if I'm looking at a frozen. Nope, you're moving. Okay. I don't know if.
I think we pretty much covered it. Skype issues here aside, this has been fun. I've enjoyed being on the show. I appreciate the invite. I know that as far as future testing goes, I think they're doing it right. I think they're doing it right. I think by making it entertaining. I mean, how many stories have we come up with in this show? Just how many stories have we been able to tell? That is the precursor to the stories we're going to be able to tell when it really matters. Because ultimately, that's why I'm here for Crowfall, right? Is because I as much as I love lore and as much as I love a good PvE story, the best stories that I've ever had in an MMO have been with other players and experiences that happen with them. And so out of this little small testing period, how many stories we already have, just imagine how many we're going to be able to tell eventually. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I agree. I saw, Obs from Lords of Death. He had a little video up as well where I think he thought he was about to win, and then somebody just showed up out of nowhere and knocked him off into the hunger. And I mean, you just get all sorts of you get all sorts of fun little stories like that. And I think it's going to be valuable to Crowfall to continue to have people streaming the game and relaying these stories so that the community at large can really see how deep into an MMO you can get with just a limited combat module. So I'm excited. Hopefully they don't kick me out too soon.
No, I mean I think what they're doing, and I'll end it on this note. The fact that they're streaming so early, most developers are scared to death showing off some of this basic stuff like that. I think it's kind of refreshing to kind of see it from the inside looking out. And I love their milestone video of like every single week. We talked about that last week on the show. And I hope they keep doing it because you know what? The more you show, the more you're upfront, the more you're honest with it, the more people are going to get used to that and really appreciate the work you're doing instead of hiding it or not showing anything or showing, really cool videos you made in your engine with soaring through and all that other stuff no one really cares about. And I think if you continue doing it, people's expectations will actually equalize. The more you do it, the more we expect. This is a game in development, so this is cool. So
let me give you the last question. All right, this is an important one. All right, and so will they keep the Hunger Dome in Crowfall? Arawulf.
I see it as a special event on occasion. I do not see it being a permanent campaign in the game.
Okay. Dragon.
I definitely agree with that, only because you're not going to make battlegrounds because that's going to suck people out of campaigns. We talked about that last week. It might be a localized event, like you're taking over a mine, and the last person standing inside of a mine, gets all the loot until everybody dies or something. I don't know. They can incorporate it into some kind of campaign rule set where it's like a local type of thing. Like,
but do you think they will? I mean, do you think that this is showing some value and that there's something they're going to do?
I think they might put it in for nostalgia's sake. Like, our first test was with the Hunger Dome. We made a campaign element around it.
Okay. Hey, fun stuff there.
All right, so guys, thanks for watching in our what did we start? We started like at 9 o'clock? A little about a half hour late than normal. So I appreciate the extended time. All the developers, we appreciate it. You having us in for testing and playing around in chat and being so open with us. It's really awesome. Arawulf, I really appreciate you hopping on at the last minute like that. Definitely come back anytime you want. If you want to hop in and kind of promote some of your content, we have plenty of room on the space on our screen. If you want to do a 4-man show with Lakes, you're more than welcome to come up here. Again, every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Hopefully you can do that Eastern time. We've been off the last couple of weeks with me traveling and everybody else's schedules kind of getting screwed up, but we'll try to stick to that. If anybody has a suggestion of when we should be streaming differently, maybe there is a different time to get more people watching. So
we should ask Ace this question as well.
Yeah, we don't want to overlap with other testing. So if there's a day where they definitely are not going to test, maybe we should move the show to that date. If you have any suggestions on when might be a better time to put the show, I'm sorry, your guys, we're not going to do it in the middle of the afternoon or in the middle of the morning, so you can watch it. I'm sorry, guys. So crownsandcurls@gmail.com. Like us, love us, all the different social media stuff, and we'll see you next week. Take care, guys. Thank you very much.
Take care, guys. Peace. Oh, I have to hit the stop streaming button.
Yes, you do. Take care, everybody. This has been extended.
All right, and stop streaming.